1-10, the coordinate plane. Our objective today is to plot points in the coordinate plane. So what is a coordinate plane? Starts out with a number line, and this one's known as the horizontal axis. The horizontal axis goes from left to right. Think of the horizon when you're looking out at the beach where the water meets the sky. That's called the horizon, and we also have horizontal axis. Numbers to the right are positive, numbers to the left are negative. Down the middle we've got what's called our vertical axis, and it's a vertical number line, and the numbers above 0 are positive, numbers below are negative. The farther up you go, the more positive you get. The horizontal axis is also known as the x-axis, and the vertical axis is also called the y-axis. If we're plotting a point, so here's an example of a point, its coordinates are 2, 3. The first number is what's called your x-coordinate. Your second number is known as your y-coordinate. And what they're telling you, well, and they're called ordered pair, that's known as the origin. The origin is where the two axes cross, the x and y axis cross, or the horizontal and vertical axis cross. And that's 0, 0. Now the coordinate graphs have 4 quadrants. The first quadrant is the one that you probably learned when you were first starting out graphing, and that's the one where they're both positive. And so that's the top right. The top left is your second quadrant, bottom left is your third quadrant, and finally you have the bottom right is your fourth quadrant. So we're basically going in counterclockwise motion. In your first quadrant, both numbers are going to be positive. So if you see 2 positives, you know it's in the first quadrant. If you see a negative then a positive, that's in the second quadrant because your x is on the negative side and your y's are still positive. If you're in the third quadrant, both are negative. And in the fourth quadrant, you have a positive then a negative. Alright, so let's work on graphing here. Find the x and y coordinates for these points. Label the points on the graph first. So if we're going to label point M, first thing we want to do is we're going to go along the x coordinate, or x-axis I should say. And how far are we going? Well, we're at 3. So our x value would be 3. Then we're going to look to the left to see where does it match up on the y-axis, and it matches at 3 again. So this one's pretty easy. It would be 3, 3. Look at point N down below that, and would you take a guess at what you think the x value and the y value are going to be? You don't have to write them down, but at least in your head, try to figure out what are the coordinates, the ordered pair for this. Alright, so we're looking for the x value, so we're going to go up to the x-axis, and we're going to see it's at 3, so we'll put 3 here. We then need to look to the left of the point and see where it lines up, and it lines up at -1. So the ordered pair for this point would be 3, -1. Try the same thing again with point P. Take a guess as what the x-axis or the x value would be and what the y value would be. So x value, we look down below, it's at -2. The y value, we're going to look to the right this time, and to the right it is a +1. So the ordered pair for this point would be -2, 1. For the x, or for a q, point Q, we have -4, and for the y value would be -3. So our ordered pair for this point would be -4, -3. Let's work on plotting points. So we had points before, now we want to make our own points. But we have to follow the rules. We always start at the origin, and we're going to go left to right, then up or down. So for point A, we have +3, -1. So the first number tells us to go left or right. Since it's a +3, we're going to go 3 to the right. Then we have -1, which means we're going down 1, which puts us right about there. So we'll put a point, and we want to label it. Make sure you label. We got point A. So for point B, it's -3, -4. Why don't you try to predict where do you think we're going to plot our point? Put your pencil or pen on the graph where you think this would work. Okay, so -3 means I'm going to go 3 to the left this time. First number tells me to go left or right. Since it's a negative, I'm going to the left. Second number tells me to go up or down. It's a -4, so I'm going down 4. And there's my point B. Would you put your pencil where you think point C is going to be at? For -1, +2. So 1 to the left, up 2, puts us right there. Next we have -4. So 0 says don't go left or right, but I do have a -4, so I do need to go down 4, and that puts me at point D. And there's our 4 points. Now I want you to look at your original graph and name the quadrant where each point would be located at. So if you look at the ordered pairs, they should give you a hint. Also, like I said, if you look at that original graph where we had the plus, comma, plus, or the minus, comma, minus, and so on, that could also help you. So for number 1, we would go 2 to the right, down 6. That puts us at quadrant 4. For number 2, we go right and then up. That's quadrant 1. For number 3, we go left and then down. That would mean quadrant 3. If you haven't done the others, I'd like you to pause the video and try to do the other 4. Okay, so right, then down, puts me at 4. Left and up puts me at 2. Way to the right, just down a little, puts me in 4. Quite a bit to the left, up 7, puts me in 2. And then I go right and then stay, so that puts me on the x-axis, x-axis, left to right. Yes. Alright, so would you take a minute and try to work on plotting these points? I'm going to go kind of slow, so you can, I'll do a point, pause, do a point, pause. So hopefully you can get ahead of me and see what kind of shape we get here. So for A, -5, -1 means left 5, down 1. I'm going to label all my points. Next, for B, I have -2, -3. So left 2, down 3. For C, 5, -3. Okay, I want it to be positive, so that's going to be to the right, and then down 3. For D, we have 6, -2, so that means right 6, down 2. For E, right 6, down 1. For F, 1.5 to the right and then down 1. It's okay to go 1.5, that doesn't matter, you just end up in the middle. Then we go 1.5 to 0, so just a small little jump up here. And H, 5, 0, it's going to be way over here. H, we got 5, 0. And now we're on to J. Or I, sorry. Not good with my alphabet. J, we've got negative 5, 0. And you should be trying to figure out what shape this is by now. Hopefully you figured it out. And we got 1 and 0 for K. Then 1, negative 1, so we'll go down. And then we're going to bring this back to the original point, which was A. And we have a nice little sailboat. Isn't that special? And that's it. If you have any questions, post them on Edmodo, or you can post them on YouTube, or you can talk to me in class. Thank you very much.